Oh, all right, we should be on. Yeah, check the.
It says live.
All right. Okay. All right. So welcome everybody. I see you, Goji fan, Nightwalker, Kenobi, Jeff.com. Welcome in, guys. This is our weekly Syndi-Comics stream. If you're new to the chat and new to the YouTube for us, we pretty much go over comics and more comics every week. Kind of like what we've seen, what we've read, what we picked up, but also like what's coming down the road that we've seen. Tonight is an actual special version of Syndi-Comics because put out earlier this week, we wanted to talk about the best of 2017. And everybody's got their own interpretation of what the best of 2017 is. So we'll kind of give you what our picks was. We didn't have a whole lot of people chime in, which just thought a lot of people would have jumped in on that. But the cool thing was at least we got a couple of people.
Yep.
So yeah. So yep. All right. So let's just kind of get started. I wanted to go over the top ones, the categories first with everybody. So let me just bring up the list. And okay. So the categories for this year we all came up with was Best New Series, Best Trade Paperback and Graphic Novel, Best Emerging Artist, Best Emerging Writer, the Best Writer, the Best Artist / Inker, because a lot of those are kind of interchangeable. Some of them do both still. The Best Cover, and the Best Series overall. So what I want to do is actually go over what we got from the other guys first. So let's see here. Okay. All right, so from Angel Cruz, we got that they think the best new series had to be Batman White Knight. I have not read that, so maybe you guys can kind of enlighten me on the actual series if you've read it.
Yeah, that is one that I absolutely love. It's kind of a different take on Batman, as if what if Batman was kind of the villain.
Yeah.
So it's completely different than honestly any Batman story I've read. I absolutely love it. It's not my pick, but it's definitely one that's up there. There's probably one of the most memorable Batman stories I can remember in quite some time. And everything about it, the art, everything's phenomenal. It reminds me a lot of kind of like the Superior Spider-Man, where you had Doc Ock take over Parker's body, just kind of the opposite, where it's a good guy being portrayed as a bad guy. And it brings up some good questions of like, you look at Batman, and it's like in some lights, the way he acts, the way that he kind of goes against villains and things like that, it just shows a different lens of Batman.
Yeah, I got. When I saw the cover of the first issue, I had to get it because I'm a big fan of the artist / writer. I got into him with Tokyo Ghost, and really good, different version. You say like the good guy of Joker.
Yep.
Haven't seen that.
Yeah, that's what I heard about it. I heard it's kind of like it's like a 180. What if Joker was the good guy and Batman was the bad guy, which actually Batman's always been a bad guy in comics. They just turned him into a good guy because of what he does. So it's kind of I can't wait to actually read that.
It's kind of like the working class hero in this comic book.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Angel also said that the best cover, he or she, I don't know who it is, said that the Supergirl covers from Art Gem. Yeah, Arjun definitely has been killing it this year on almost every cover he's did. And they go for a pretty penny. All right. And let's see. And okay, we got a comment from Goji Fan. Where's everybody at? So Goji, I am in California. So Kyle and BJ.
I am Cincinnati, Ohio.
And KC, South Carolina, just on the outskirts of Columbia.
All right. And then we got from Sasha Wagner, the best new series, Dark Knight's Metal, including the prelude and tie-ins. Said that the best trade paperback was the Justice League versus Suicide Squad. Best writer, Jason Aaron for the Mighty Thor. Best artist, Charlie Adler, of course, Walking Dead. Best cover, The Button 21, Part 1, lenticular cover.
Yep.
And the best series overall, The Walking Dead. So I can tell what Sasha likes. So, and I can't say nothing about it because I read Walking Dead too. You know, I just buy it in the compendium versions.
Yep.
Yeah, I got a subscription with Walking Dead. Always a good one.
Okay, so what we'll do is, PJ, if you want to go over your categories and what you picked out, and then Kyle, then I'll go last.
Sounds good.
Alrighty. I didn't really do emerging artist, writer, or emerging writer. Since I'm still learning a little bit more into the writing process of the writing side of comic books, I kind of put those on the side. But I did get some other ones for the other classifications here. Best new series. Let's see. I got some on the side here. I went with Curse Words. Really good, interesting storyline. It was, you got a magician coming over to Earth, scoping it out for his master, and he decided, I kind of like this place, so I'm just gonna hang out here. And his sidekick is a koala. Yeah, it's great. Storyline a little bit further in there, like his master type deal is, trying to get back to him and everything. So they cross over here and there, gets other couple people there, but that was a good one. I like that one. With the trade paperback or graphic novel, sorry, I only got one graphic novel or a trade paperback last year, and I got the Deadpool Bad Blood.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Rob Liefeld, Chad Bowers, and Chris Sims co-writing it. It's actually up for an award right now too. It brings you back to the golden days of Liefeld there, hanging out and doing what he does good with the X-Force and Deadpool as well. A couple cameos. Little backstory as well with Wade Wilson's childhood life and everything too. Really good. For artists, I went with Freddie E. Williams II. Heard about him mainly because of the He-Man Thundercats miniseries he did. Look at that art. That's amazing.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Now he's done some Batman though, right? Or
I know.
Different.
Yeah, I know he's doing the Batman Ninja Turtles 2
right
now.
Okay, that's what it was. Okay.
Yeah, he's done a couple of issues of like front covers, I believe, of the First Strike and IDW with Mike Ron.
Okay.
Transformers and G.I. Joe. Yeah. Cover, it was a tough one, man. There's a lot of them. I was scrolling through my CLZ, but I wanted to, I didn't want to go to like use the same comic book for everything. But I went with I went with Go-Go Power Rangers. It's like a reminiscence to Footloose. Yeah, it was great. The top part was reading, "He's just a kid from Angel Grove. Rita said they'd never win. Zordon knew they had to." That's great. And my series, I really enjoyed it. It's the writing was great. It was short lived. Art was amazing. My personal was the U.S. Avengers.
Okay.
I had a fun time, just getting all the basically kind of like the B squad of superheroes and making them into something pretty cool.
Nice.
Yeah.
Reminds me of Thunderbolts.
Yeah.
Sweet. All right.
That's all.
All right. Let's see. So first one, best new series. I went with a really odd one. If you guys have been on the Syndi-Comics, you've seen me talk about this before. I went with Shirtless Bear Fighter. And yes, it's as dumb as it sounds, but it's freaking fantastic. Basically, man raised by bears, lives in the forest, is betrayed by bears, and then protects the forest from bears. Honestly, this thing, it's hysterically funny. It's lighthearted. It doesn't take itself seriously. The jokes are spot on, and it honestly reminded me how much fun comics can be. And I think like kind of in today's age where comics have to be kind of so serious and so kind of like overreaching, like with these epic events and everything like that. This thing just reminded me just how much fun it can be to sit down and read a comic. So seriously, do you guys like, if you just want to laugh and have like a bunch of good just jokes, this is a fantastic book. So Shirtless Bear Fighter, that's my best new series. Trade paperback, graphic novel. I'm going to go with God Country from Donny Cates. Book, I can't even describe really kind of like everything about it. But basically, it's a family. They're struggling with taking care of the son's dad, who's struggling with Alzheimer's. Can't remember anything. Is like becoming very violent. And all of a sudden, this like storm rips apart their town. This tornado rips apart this town in Texas. And all of a sudden, like after the storm's gone, it levels the house. And the grandfather's just standing there with this sword, and all of a sudden he has every one of his memories back. And kind of the overall themes of the book are how far would a father go to not only protect his family, because like obviously the sword is mystical, so like all these gods are coming after the sword. So he has to not only try to protect his family from being killed by these mythical creatures, but also he wants to try to keep a hold of all these memories of his family, of his past, all this. So it kind of goes into like how far would a father go. It's kind of one of those books you read and then you call your dad immediately and say I love you to him. It was just a fantastic book. Donny Cates, I know we've talked about him a ton, but this is my favorite comic of the year. I just didn't want to use this for every category, so I put it in this one. Because this is just one mini series. The entire thing, I think all 7 issues is in this one book. So yeah, God Country is my best trade. Let's see, Emerging Artist. This is a book, I don't know how many people have actually read or heard of this. It's an extremely, extremely dark fantasy book from Image. It's called Monstrous. Kind of a book about a girl who is this race of creatures that have been enslaved their entire lives. And she finds out that she has basically this all-powerful demon inside of her. And she basically uses that for her freedom. And then it's an extremely difficult book to not read, but it's very much like Game of Thrones and like very involved with how many different races and cultures, and there's like civil wars going on in these countries. So it's not easy to describe, but this is a fantastic book. And Sana Takeda is the artist, and see if I can find the one page I wanted to kind of show. But her line work and her detail is absolutely just stunning. Of course, I can't find the page I wanted. Yeah, so like this is kind of, you guys can see this. I don't know how well that's going to show up. I mean, just the amount of line work and detail that she puts into her work, it's just unbelievable. And if you're really into like dark fantasy, like Game of Thrones, those types of things, I highly recommend Monstrous. There's 2 volumes out now, and I think the 3rd comes out in April. But really good book. Next would be Emerging Writer. I'm going to consider him an emerging writer. I'm going to go with Donny Cates, just because I feel like his like real rise to power happened throughout 2017. It started with God Country in early 2017, then went to Redneck, and then now he's at Marvel doing Thanos and Doctor Strange and just absolutely killing that. So I'm going to kind of say he's my emerging writer. Obviously, this will be the only year he'll be emerging because now he's now he's a superstar. But I'm going to count him as my emerging writer, and obviously, I think you're going to hear him all over the place. My best writer overall, this was really hard for me because there's so many writers that did so many amazing things this year. You had Snyder coming back with Metal. You had Remender doing all his books. Donny Cates. Just so many wonderful books. I'm going with Jeff Lemire, just because of his vast talent, how many different things he's writing at the time. He's got Black Hammer, which is kind of a superhero family drama type book. He has Royal City out. That's strictly family drama. He just got done with his run with Moon Knight. I think that was last year. He's doing stuff for Bloodshot with Valiant. He's just doing so much, and it's all quality work. And he's and Descender with Image Comics, so he's got sci-fi.
Yeah.
It's like he's doing every genre you can think of. He's doing a book in it, and it's phenomenal. So that's the reason I picked him, was just because of his versatility of how many genres he's doing, and just how many phenomenal books he has. And now he has, I think this year he's doing a horror book at Gideon Falls. Jeff Lemire, definitely my writer of the year. Best inker artist, that has to be my personal favorite artist of all time. I really feel like he made a big comeback this year. That's Greg Capullo.
Yeah.
Between Reborn, between Metal, like I said, he is personally my favorite artist. And just to see like kind of him come back with such like a big blast this year was really, really awesome. Just look at this stuff. This is just, you don't get anything better than what Capullo does. So Capullo, definitely my artist of the year. And then best cover, actually sticking with Greg Capullo. I actually don't have it out. It's somewhere in my short boxes, but it's Metal #1. Something about the metal horns with all the characters, like when I think of great covers, like don't get me wrong, like there are so many probably better covers as far as maybe detail and like in backgrounds and things like that. But like there's something about when he first announced that cover and like tweeted it out, I was blown away because I was like, how cool is that? And that's a cover I'll never forget because it's so simple. But he took the characters and made the finger, and then had Batman's cape make the thumb going across. It was just a phenomenal cover, and I think that's one that maybe 20 years from now people will still look back and know what that cover is. So that's Metal #1 is my cover, and then my best series overall is my favorite comic to date. Still is, even though Black Hammer from Jeff Lemire is starting to kind of creep up on that. It's Deadly Class from Remender. Sorry, losing my mind here. Rick Remender, one of my favorite writers as well. This is basically a high school for assassins. So all of the drug cartels, the Russian KBG, Secret Service, like gang members all send, like high-ranking gang members all send their kids to this high school where they learn to kill. And so, they practice that a lot. And sometimes on each other. So it's a cool book. You have all the drama of a high school drama, but then you have like this kind of like these aren't normal kids. These are kids in extremely dangerous and high positions. And it's just cool seeing how they jockey over power of the school, how they interact with one another. And this is just a phenomenal book, and it's actually coming to Sci-Fi as a series. So I can't wait for that. So that is my best series overall.
That's awesome. I don't have a lot of mine in hand. I've still got a bunch of mine still in Georgia. So once I get them shipped out here, it'll be a little bit easier to show them. But yeah, my best new series this year was DC Metals as well. I mean, just going through what these guys have done over pretty much the last 60 years of comics and Batman, just to pull it together in this one series, and then to bring in the dark multiverse, into DC Comics. And now we have all these new series like the Terrifics and Damage and all these other ones coming out now because of Metals. They did a superior job of it, and it's really easy to read too. Like we've all struggled with certain books, to read sometimes, just to get through it. You're like, all right, I got to read this one. Like no, not with Metals. Metals was easy to read. All the little one-shots they had, as well as the tie-ins with the mainstream comics, it all made sense. It all tied into a good story. So when they actually make like an absolute or an omnibus version of that, it's going to be even better because you can read it as a whole storyline.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was my best new series. Best trade paperback. It's actually a really old one. I got it this year. It was Old Man Logan. Because I had individual comics and only read them once a long time ago. And I was like, okay, then of course they're near a mint, so I kept them away, just like everybody else did. But went back and read it through with Mark Millar and everybody, and that was still an epic series. I still love it to this day. And getting Old Man Hawkeye last week kind of brought it back up again. It's like, all right, I'm ready to see like what's going to happen, And the only sad part is just kind of like how they treated Old Man Logan in comics today. He's in every X book there is, But then it's like, well, Logan's back. So it's like, okay, what's going to happen? Is Old Man Logan going to get sent back to his world? No, because Secret Wars happened. So there is no more world for him to go back to. So I don't know. It just, that whole, I always liked it when they did. It's sort of like an Elseworlds, for Marvel. They did it, and it was a great thing they did. But it's been overstretched, I think, a little bit now with Old Man Logan. So I can guarantee you that once Wolverine or the real Logan is back up front, it's going to be a reversal, I think. We're going to see all of Logan everywhere. Old Man Logan's going to be in like 2 books. Yep. So, or there's going to be a big fight between the two. Like, who's in charge? I think everyone wants to see that. Everyone wants to see Old Man Logan versus Logan. And then see Laura next door saying, oh crap, whose side am I on? But yeah, that's my graphic novel for this year. Best emerging artist, Gabriel Dell'Otto. Some of the covers Dell'Otto does is just dynamic, like he does. I've got one of his Venom ones he did. $10, it was just one of those random variants of Venom, and then it just skyrocketed. Like all of his work just skyrockets. Now he's only doing like 1 out of 100 issues now. So you get about 100 books to get one of his covers now. So that just tells you the kind of artist. And he does, and it's sort of like, it reminds me of like Alex Ross. That kind of between like him and those kind of guys where it's almost like a painting when you see it. That's what I love about Alex Ross doing Amazing Spider-Man right now. All the covers for that, just for that reason. But yeah, that one is my best emergent artist. Best emergent writer. It's funny you brought up curse words. It's Charles Soule for me. Dude, I love Soule more than anything, and it was one of the funniest things to read. Curse words #1. I'm like, all right, dude, this is hilarious. I have to keep reading this book forever. It was just kind of funny because I bought Curse Words #1 and Redneck #1 the same day. And there was like 2 dynamic differences. I had this huge comedic book, and then I got this cannibalistic redneck, so it's like.
And a koala.
And they're both good books, don't get me wrong, but like Charles Soule just kills it now. And now he's popped up everywhere in comics. Now, him and Donny Cates are like everywhere. Marvel, DC, Image, you name it, they're everywhere right now. So yeah, Charles Soule is definitely my new best emerging writer for the year. My best writer for this year is Mark Rubinham, who's doing X-Men Gold. He helped out with some X-Men Blue books as well. They just had the X-Men Annual as well. So just that he brought back that old Jim Lee, Chris Claremont feel in X-Men Gold. And that's what I really liked about it. It's like, this is the kind of writing I always loved reading it. And it was easy to read. You can read through a gold or a blue book in 5 minutes. Because it's just smooth and easy to read through.
Yeah.
Yeah. But Mark's been doing a lot of stuff other than X-Men too out there. So he's been doing independent stuff as well. Not on the same par though. It's kind of funny. Like when they pair him up with other writers, you can tell when Mark's writing it or when somebody else is writing it. You can really tell the difference. All right, and let's see. Just take a break for a second. We got some comments too on the YouTube side. Okay. Hugs, not drugs. That sounds very interesting. Sorry for commenting. But dude, don't worry about it, man. Glad you guys are here. So it says Goji fans says, who here is reading something interesting? I think we all are. Jimmy Dana says he just finished War of Jokes and Riddles. I heard that was a really good read as well. Damn it, you put that Son of Eternity back, man. Because I wish I could have got it for $8. Because, yeah. I remember paying retail for that book when it first came out.
It's $9.99. I saw on the back at my store.
Yeah, I got the hardcover version. And it was
$19.95.
Okay. Yeah. But I've got all the individual issues too, though.
Okay.
Then let's see. Goji says he's reading The Devil's Arithmetic by Jane Yolen. Huh.
I've heard of that one.
I haven't heard that one.
Nah.
All right. So my best artist and inker this year is this one. Francisco Mattini. I love pretty much any book Mattini does. Especially when he's doing Venom or Wolverine. Like, he's got a ton of those books, especially the Venom Eyes covers. Mm-hmm. They've been amazing. And the funny part is they're common covers too. They're like cover Bs. They're not like the 1 in 25 or the 1 in 50. So they're pretty really available. But just the effort and the work he puts into it, it's really Gelato and Ross, And it's like, all right, this is real artistry in my book. He's like, you're taking the time to draw these kind of landscapes, and there's other parts in there where some people just focus on the individual person, and that's it. And of course, that was my best cover of the year as well. Generations Wolverine with Francisco Mattini. And sorry, my webcam sucks. And then best series overall, Weapon X actually, from Marvel, because Weapon X was kind of cool where they brought Old Man Logan, Sabretooth, Warpath, Domino into it, and it started like that whole Uncanny X-Force feel, that we had with Rick Remender. Way back when. So it's been a really good dynamic to read. So let's seeing them, they're going out, and they hate each other, and they're still together in a group and they're doing good things, It's always ironic to see Sabretooth being a good guy, but he's kind of transitioned this last couple of years into a good guy, He's still an idiot, But yeah, that's my picks of the year. If I had one that I say that was a runner-up was this one. Recover. It was the Lenticular, the death of Mighty Thor. This is Thor, Mighty Thor number 700. Because it's got that homage to, the death of Captain Marvel graphic novel. That's been a really good read too, from Jason Aaron. Aaron doesn't really do anything wrong either. So
Totally agree.
But yeah, that's definitely been a good series to read.
If we got, I got my two right here too for the covers.
Definitely.
The USA Avengers has got like a Archie style with a humanoid little cannonball going. and it relates in the storyline too, which is really crazy. But like Skrulls portraying Archie characters, it's pretty cool. And then my cover B for the Realm, with detail on that thing. You can sit and drink some 6-pack beer on some dead creatures.
Huh.
That's awesome.
That is cool.
It's pretty good so far. It feels like it's dragging a little bit on that storyline, but I think when it happens, it's going to happen.
Well, and there's been a lot of books like that in Marvel lately. That's why I kind of like how they've been like. If you guys have read Spirits of Vengeance, you know, it's really fast paced, and there's in each book because it's a limited series. Because they're tying into Damnation coming out in March. But it's a lot of these little miniseries like this have done really good. Just got what was it? Oh Man Logan versus Deadpool. Those little like 5-issue run books are amazing because it's like they put all the story into this, and you know something bad's going to happen every issue, you know. But it's fun to read, you know. Because what was that one I was reading that was Dragon? Secret Empire. The actual main series, the main issues, that book dragged on forever.
It did.
And it's like, oh my god, 50 plus tie-in books with it as well. And it's like, and for like one page to have this, it's like I remember buying the one issue just because Black Widow died in it, supposedly. You know, spoiler alert: if you haven't read Tales of Suspense, she's not dead. Yeah, there's been some of this. That's why I kind of glad the whole legacy thing happened in Marvel. They kind of went back to the old school way of writing and drawing and doing those things where they're making good stories. So they're killing Marvel, hands down, with that Metal series. The Doomsday Clock as well. I mean, I want to see what happens after Doomsday Clock, which we won't know the answer for another year. You know, it's like, okay, what's Superman going to do to Dr. Manhattan? You know it's going to be bad. You know it's going to turn out really bad, especially now that we got the Watchmen all in our universe.
Yep.
You know, and we have a new Rorschach. It's like, okay, what happened to the old one? Because in Watchmen, he didn't die, you know. The only person that died out of all of them in the beginning was the comedian. But yeah, it's definitely been interesting. But yeah, thanks to everybody that did participate. And we'll be doing this every year, you know, just to see what's going on. Categories might change and whatnot. So thank you, BJ and Kyle, for helping out with it.
Yeah, it's fun.
Not a problem.
All right. Says Goju fan says I'm into history books. Please don't judge me. Don't worry, Goju fan. I'm a history minor, so you're good, man. Yeah. So, what did you guys get this week?
I went first. Kyle, you get to go first.
All right, that works. Well, since you both have already talked about this book, I'm going to throw it in the ring too. I got Curse Words Volume 2.
Yes.
Nice.
So yeah, I actually just read this today. Even better than the first volume.
It is.
Yeah.
I absolutely love this book. I'm pretty sure I got on Ryan Brown's website and saw that he has a bunch of pages online. And he's actually going to be at C2E2. And I think I found one that I'm going to buy from him. So I think when I go to C2E2, I'm going to buy an original page from Curse Words. I love this book that much. I'm right there with you guys. Since you guys have already talked about it, I was like, I'm going to join in too. And then
you got to read it. I mean, it's one of my favorite books.
Oh, it's just fun. It's kind of like Shirtless Bear Fighter. I mean, it doesn't take itself seriously, but it still has a very enjoyable plot. Like it's not something that's just skin deep and just tells a straightforward story. Like there's still meaning to it. There's still conflict involved. I'm very excited to see where it goes next. But I mean, the humor's great. The art's phenomenal. Whoever asked us if we were reading anything interesting, pick up Curse Words. You will not
Curse
Words.
Yeah.
And then I ran over to Half Price Books, and I posted this on the Syndicate or the Syndi-Comics site the other day. Picked up the entire run of Superior Foes of Spider-Man. And then I picked up the Daredevil Punisher crossover that Charles Soule did this past year. Picked those up for like $5 a piece. So that was.
I wish I could find places like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd give anything to have an Ollie's here.
Yeah, I was hoping my buddy, old Josh Howard, would join the live stream. So you and Kyle talk about the Superior Foes and stuff like that. I don't know, but one of my buddies is here. Oh, Keyshawn. Yeah, KJ. He's one of the local collectors down here, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah, you said you enjoyed the He-Man Thundercat series. I did too, actually.
Yeah, it was good.
That was a good series.
Yeah, KJ. I'm not sure if you missed that, but that was my artist of the year right there.
I mean, I like a lot of those crossovers.
Yeah, the Batman Ninja Turtles one is fantastic.
Yeah. I've got I'm not sure if it's First Strike or a First Strike one shot with Optimus Prime. He did one. Okay. Amazing. Yeah. Whew. I got X-Men Gold. 20? Yeah, 20. Yeah, I'm really digging this series. Really good. Good old Star Wars 42. I really think that these guys are doing really good after Jason Aaron, and I'm not sure who the artist was. They switched over, but Salvador LaRocca, I really like what he's doing with his art and everything. Some of the faces are really actually lifelike. Somehow I missed this, so I had to find it and grab it. Appearance of Vengeance #2.
You missed #2?
I don't know. I don't know how I did it. I was like 1 and 3, and I was scrolling. I didn't know where it was at, so I got that, and then I got 4. So I was like, okay, now I know what's going on. And then 7 to Eternity. I might be halfway through it right now.
What do you think?
Almost. Good. It's pretty good. I like people using, not what am I trying to say? Kind of using their own imaginations to tell different stories, and just going out there in the distance, and it's pretty good so far.
That's what I liked about that one and like Reborn, because their stories are like way out there in a tangent. It's like, where do they come up with this stuff?
Yeah.
You have to get the other volumes. You go with 7 to Eternity, because it'll make a little bit more sense as you keep reading through it.
Yep.
All right, so this week, I did go back and get Phoenix Resurrection #3, the regular cover. And actually, there was a story behind that. So I talked to my comic guy, and he was just like, "Oh, we got the variants, but we didn't get the regular ones. That's why it wasn't in your pull list." I'm like, "Well, that makes a lot of sense now. Well, I didn't have this cover." So I went back on Saturday and picked it up from him. So we got Bears of Vengeance #4. I'm gonna be sad when this series ends.
Yeah.
Let's see. All New Wolverine #29, and it's kind of cool because they killed Sabretooth, Old Man Logan, and Lady Deathstrike in the book.
Oh.
But they're not going to be really dead. It's kind of cool. I mean, if you haven't read it, go back and read it, and it's pretty decent. Of course, my favorite book of the year, Weapon X. It's #13. Nuke's back, so they brought Nuke back in the comics. So I actually like Nuke. He's actually a good character to read. If you read like his backstory of what happened to him, and he was pretty much a leftover guy that got made to the second Captain America. They used pills instead of the serum on him to make him into a super soldier. But it drove him insane. The pills did. So it's even worse. Let's see. Generation X, #86. And I think the next issue, 87, is the final issue. because they're ending the series. It's one of the series that gets canceled in February, which sucks because I actually was happy to see Generation X come back after 20 years. This X-Men Gold, of course, number 20, my boy Guggenheim. And let's see here, Deadpool versus Old Man Logan, number 4. This is really good too. And it's really the whole plot just twists in this one issue. And I think there's only 5 issues, so I'm interested to see what issue number 5 comes out with. And of course, this is my book and pick of the week. Venom, Omega Incorporated.
Yep.
Ending the saga. The ironic part now is that Venom's gonna cross over with X-Men Blue for the next couple of issues. So if you want to understand what's going on with that, you got to read both Venom and X-Men Blue. And the reason is I brought one of my comic boxes out here. I wanted to explain this. It's because of this. You guys know about the Venomverse and all that stuff that happened?
Yep.
I do not.
Okay. So, for BJ and everybody that's out there, I'll give you kind of a short explanation of what happened. In Venomverse, actually predating Edge of Venomverse, what they did is they found all these alternate realities where a Venom symbiote had taken over somebody else than it was supposed to.
Oh.
And so Captain America in that prime Venomverse goes back and picks all these people up. Well, in Venomverse, the reason why he picked them all up was because there's this group of people called the Poisons. The Poisons are the ones that made anti-Venom, in the comics. So what happens is the Poisons would infect somebody that's got a symbiote, and now they know work for the Poisons. So it was real interesting, to see how they mix all together. And at the end of the series, they left it open. They didn't say if they were dead or gone or whatnot. They just said it's not over. And by the way, Dr. Doom is doing everything with it. So it's going to be interesting to see how Venom and the X-Men kind of connect together to do it. And that's going to be, I think, X-Men Blue Annual #1. I think that's part 1.
Okay.
So it's, like I said, really good read. And I'm happy because that means I get to read more Eddie Brock as Venom. But yeah. Let's just see then. We deliver in the house. Hey, welcome, brother. Thank you guys for coming by. We're at 5. We made it to 10 at one point, guys. Yeah. So that's our record. I guarantee you, George shows up, we're gonna have 800 people show up. Or Syndi shows up, one day.
We got a lot of new members too in the past few days too. That's pretty cool.
We did, yeah. and I actually counted it up. 59 new people since the beginning of the year, and awesome. And I love it. I love seeing more people coming in on the comic side. So I wanted to bring. Somebody brought this up, and it was a really good point. So you guys know we just started up the Syndicate Buy, Sell, and Trade Group. And then, of course, I run part of that with Rube and Josh and T-Man. So we're doing, buy, sell, trade, toys, you name it, whatever you want to do. Well, somebody asked about comics at one point. They're like, well, what about comics? And I said, well, the way we run the Syndicate page, we allow trading on there. Well, we no longer allow trading on the Syndicate page. So somebody asked, well, what about trading comics on the Syndi-Comics? And I said, I have no problem with that. No problem at all. But we will not be able to sell on our Syndi-Comics page. That will still be kept on the Buy Sell Trade group. Now, I'm still working with the admins on this. I need to talk to them a little bit about it to see if that still might transition from everything to Buy Sell Trade group. But as of today, yes, people can still trade within Syndi-Comics. We haven't seen a whole lot of that on our page. Most of the people out there are looking for previews of what's going on, talking about what they picked up and stuff like that. A lot of us have YouTube channels, so we put our plug in there, what we got for the week. But that I did want to bring that up is people that are on YouTube also or on our pages, is that if you want to trade as of today, we don't have an issue with it. But that, like I said, that might change in the future where it's only on the buy sell trade group. So if you're a member of the syndicate and you come over to the buy sell trade group, you automatically get added into the group because that's one of our big rules. And let me just explain the rules real fast for buy sell trade. A, you're gonna sell something, you gotta put a piece of paper or sticky with your name and your time date on it, and then the item you want to put in. It's got to be your thing. You actually have to have it in your hand. Not I pre-ordered it. It's going to be here in 6 months. I'm already going to resell it. No, it's got to be something you have in your hand. You got to communicate with your buyers and sellers, of course. And if you have issues, bring them to the admins. Don't post them on the page. We're here to resolve those kind of things. Oh, and by the way, all posts have to be approved by us as admins on the buy sell trade list before they get automatically approved. Because what we're trying to do is avoid those issues where people are trying to, I'm not going to say scalp or scam people, but we've seen some things like that before, where it's happened on the syndicate page. So we're trying to avoid situations to make it up and up. Because to us, this is a business. People want to buy, sell, or trade or do anything like that, it needs to be proper, and we're trying to make sure that gets done. So yeah, just wanted to bring that up. Like I said, Big King had asked me about it, I think about a week ago, because he's got two books he wants to get rid of, and I said, put them out there. I have no issues with that, But yeah, so I do have an announcement. I did want to talk about. I talked to Ethan Van Sciver this morning, who of course was the artist on Green Lantern, Flash, and all those books and stuff. And he said he might be the big word, come to our stream. And I asked him, I said, well, when would you look at it? He said, probably this summer. His schedule's really booked. And I said, dude, I don't care when you want to. We'll get you hooked up into here. Same way with like BJ's doing with chat, But yeah, it's the same thing. I told him, I said, whatever you want to do, just let me know. He's a really good dude. I've met him in so many cons and talked to him. He's been a good friend of mine for over 15 years. So I just was like, dude, we'd love to have you. I said, come to our page. I gave him the link to our Syndi-Comics page. They come show up. I guarantee you, we start getting artists and writers and people like that to come to our page and post on there. Dude, we were going to skyrocket past this syndicate probably on certain things. It's just because it's a different fan base. It's not toys and it's comics. It's a different fan base. But I thought, I said, yeah, just let me know what you want to do. Like I said, we're all flexible with that kind of thing. But yeah, I wanted to share that. It was, like I said, I talked to him this morning. He was good. But I asked Rick Frog, another friend of mine who runs Comics Price Guide, if he wanted to come in and talk about it. Because if you guys have went to the site, it's all changed already. Because they rolled out some new changes with it. They have some new graders, new writer, or not writers, but developers, for their website. And it's just, if you want to come out and talk about it, let us know. And then I asked a friend of mine who works in CDCS and CGC if they'd like to come on and talk as well. So we'll see. But it definitely have to be a lot earlier than this time frame. I'll tell you that. But yeah, just wanted to put that announcement out there. Like I said, I have friends and I want them to be able to come out and see my new friends that's on the Syndi-Comics page and everybody else. And it's just because of years of working with these guys.
Yeah. I was kind of thinking about going to these the Comic-Cons around here and maybe talking to some of the writers or artists, be like, hey, want to come on one day? I mean, it's not going to hurt just to ask them. Worst they're going to say, yeah. So, tell them, part of this group that we want to grow and, big fans of comic books. And, this is a good way to talk about it with the, our 5 people watching now and more to come.
Oh yeah. Well, we don't do it for the people, that that are out there. We do it for the people that actually want to be here. The guys that show up every week, that want to hear it. We're glad to have you. Bring your friends. Bring everybody else with you. We'd love to see 1,000 people show up. But I'm definitely appreciative of everybody that does show up every week, for us.
100%.
Because, it's not like we all have, 80,000 followers or nothing like that. We're just three guys who talk comics every week,
Yeah.
Maybe we'll have 4 or 5 guys in here someday if they can get their butts arranged and show up.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of got on the George about that already. I was like, dude, you just did a stream. Come over to this one. I know you're waiting. Turn away. But yeah, like I said, yeah, I really appreciate everybody that's definitely able to do this. And have you guys talked to Rosie lately?
No.
Rosie's our other admin in the group. Or other mod.
No, I just see him adding stuff on the the group, and then I know he's doing his YouTube channel himself. I've seen a couple of his add-ons and stuff like that. Lots of pickups he does.
Yeah, I wanted to try to bring him in too, because he's sort of like me. He gets a lot of old books too.
Yeah.
And so I want to bring that side as well, and because I collect silver, golden age as well.
Mm-hmm.
Those are definitely few and far in between because they're a little bit up there. But yeah, I've actually got 4 books coming in probably in about a month that are really old books. But they're in really nice shape, and I wanted to show them on here first before anybody else.
Cool.
Nice.
But yeah, all right. So with that being said, what are you guys looking forward to coming up?
So I think my biggest one is Killer Be Kill. I think I said this last week too, Volume 3. I think it came out Wednesday, but I'll pick it up probably this weekend. That one, and then Gideon Falls from Jeff Lemire starts in March. I think March 11th is what I want to say when the first issue comes out. Really excited about that one. I'll probably continue to keep promoting that one. Let's see. Deadly Class starts back up in March. And then I believe the Batman Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, that ends sometime soon, right?
Yes, next month.
Yeah, so whenever I have a pre-order out for that trade already, so whenever I'm really excited because I love the first one. I thought the first one was fantastic.
Yeah, I know the biggest one I'm waiting for right now is Damnation to come out.
Yeah.
Because Phoenix Resurrections ends this month, so. And X-Men Red. I want to see what X-Men Red's going to look like. I just pre-ordered the Delato variant yesterday, so. So shameless plug, unknowncomics.com. So if you haven't had a chance to go check them out, they get a lot of variants in now. They were doing the Delatos for $19. So for a Delato, that's a pretty decent price, especially when they usually start 50 to 100. Plus they were doing slabs for 100 signed.
Man.
So yeah, unknowncomics.com. They're good, and Legacy Comics. I've been using those guys lately.
Put those in the comments. I might look that up when I rewatch this.
Yep, I'll throw them in.
I've done mycomicbookstore.com a couple times. I mean, I think they could do auctions, but I just grabbed a Clayton Crane variant Necrosha cover. Looks like the Lost Boys poster cover.
Okay.
Yeah, 2006, 2007.
Yeah, I got Crane's finally his last cover off of Edge of Universe last week. I had to go look forever to find that book. And a buddy of mine, he was down in Texas, and he said, "Oh yeah, they've got like 10 on the rack." So I was like, "Grab me one," because Crane goes like in a heartbeat here. Everybody loves Clayton Crane out here.
Yeah. Hopefully he'll be at HeroesCon this year. He hasn't been the past few years, so we'll see.
Yeah, we don't have a whole lot of cons going on this year. We have SDCC, and unless you're in that magical number, you're not going. You know, and I tried this year, and I was just like, okay, yeah. And I've been a member of them forever. You know, so I'm like, okay, put my stuff in, sat in the wait room for an hour, 2 hours, whatnot. Didn't even get into the registration side. I'm like, I'll go to Kamikaze instead.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think C2E2 and then Heroes. I know we were talking BJ. I'm thinking about possibly going down there. I'm nervous about that one. The cool part of that one is that one's nothing but comics. I mean, last year I priced it out. I was going to spend like $4,000, like just thinking of like this like general commissions from like everybody I'd want to get down there. It was going to be outrageous. And I know the guest list will be just as crazy this year. So,
you didn't go last year?
No, I've actually not been to Heroes Con. I say I'm going to go every year, and then I end up not doing it.
Yeah, I missed out last year, but I was there the past 2 years. Last year, my nephew was graduating high school. Oddly enough, it was the same weekend as Awesome Con in DC, it's really cool.
Okay.
It's got celebrities, artists, writers, and figures and G.I. Joe groups and props from Star Wars, and Stanley was there. They had a museum, like an art museum for him, and I was walking by the exit, and he was coming out in a little motorized scooter with a security guy out there, and I was like, Excelsior! The old man. So that was pretty cool. Heroes Con is, you've got one side, it's all the comic books. The other side is a little bit of toys, figures, and then the rest of it is, they call it Artist Alley. And
right.
Just go in and out. I tried to get autograph from George Perez. He was like $15 for an autograph from him, but the line was going all the way around here, and I was like, okay, let me get a ticket. And she's like, well, this ticket's for tomorrow. I was like, I'm not gonna be here tomorrow. So, yeah. And then there's some of them, unfortunately. Some of them are like $75 for an autograph. I think Mark Teixeira was like that, but I got a picture with him.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, the last one I went to, it was in Atlanta. Went up to that one, and it sucked. It was not good. Like
The one
walked into it, Dragon Con.
Oh, okay.
Definitely not. It's all the same thing. You know, it's the same, just like SDCC has become now. You know, it's all TV personality kind of stuff. They lost focus on what people actually wanted it to be. You know, comics, toys, figures, and stuff like that. You know, so it's like, nah. Not doing that one.
You went to the one in September?
The one I went to 2 years ago.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I haven't been to one. Well, I take that back. I went to one in Indiana, and with Big Kid Kington, and it was amazing. Like literally, we walked in, and there was literally three long boxes of comics when you walked in. It says grab 3 for free, and I'm like, dude, this is my place. But yeah, it was a cool. I got so much stuff when I was there. Between that and going to Kokomo Toys, you know.
Heck yeah.
It was just like, oh my gosh, came out with, I'm like, how this shit gonna fit in my car? Yeah, that was a good one. But yeah, before that was Dragon Con, and it just, no. The last SDCC I went to was in 2014 or 2015. It's one of those ones. So if you've been once, you've been once, you know. It's not worth the extra money to go to that. We can go to like the Stanley's LA Comic Con, for $20, for entry fee.
Right.
It was fine because they had one when I was living in Warner Robinson, Georgia, at a little Hilton. It was called Central Georgia Con or something like that. And literally it was 5 guys in a booth. That was their con. And I'm like, dude, this is not a con. But it's just sad,
Yeah, Yeah, we had since then. Well, C2E2. I went up there last year on a Saturday, and it wasn't overall. It wasn't a bad experience, but man, that it was packed. It was like Jason Aaron and Jason Latour. Like I'm a big Southern Bastards fan, so I wanted to meet both of them. I think I waited like an hour and a half just to meet those two. I ended up meeting just about everybody. Like I got to meet Ryan Otley. Didn't really get Brian Level was the only guy I was able to get a sketch from that show, and I bought an original page from Rob Gilroy from the book 2, which is one of my all-time favorite comics. So I got to meet most people, but we went up one day. We drove up. We left at 4 a.m. Cincinnati time. Got up there around I don't know 8 or so in the morning. Parked, went to the convention center, stayed there till about 5, and then came home the same day. It's about a 4-hour drive from Cincinnati. So I'm not doing that this year, but we spent the entire time we were there in Artist Alley. Like we never even once got to go look at like any figures or anything like that. And then what really sucks is Cincinnati had 2 Comic Cons for the longest time. And one of them, there was the Cincinnati Comic Expo, which is actually in the big convention center downtown Cincinnati. And that one's the big one. Like they had Stan Lee 2 years ago. This year it's rumored that Frank Miller is going to be the main guest. That one's a good mix of they get a lot of good comic creators, but they also get a lot of the actors. But there was one. It was called the Cincinnati Comic Con, and it was actually ran by Terry Moore. And so like you had the co-Walking Dead creator. And so he had like the end because he's from Northern Kentucky. And so he put together these cons, and it was like I think one day, Saturday was like $30, and you walk in, and it was all his friends. So it was like I'm trying to think of who wasn't there. Jason Latour was there. Jonathan Hickman was there. Let's see, Brian Azzarello was there. Eddie Bauer was there. I mean, it was just like Dennis Hopeless was there. Scotty Young was there. Like it was like everybody who's huge in comics was at this show, and it was all because they were friends with Moore. But unfortunately, I don't know why they did it, but they always put it 2 weeks before the expo. And like what you were saying, like even though like a lot of people love the pop culture thing, but they love the movies, they love the TV shows, they love the action figures, but they don't necessarily like the source material from the comics. So unfortunately, this past year they had to pull the plug on that one. But that was honestly that was one of the best conventions I've ever been to. It was so enjoyable because there was like maybe 2,000-3,000 people there, if that. I mean, the longest I waited was for Brian Azzarello, and it was like maybe 5 minutes to get his autograph. It was just a phenomenal show.
That's how the Kamikaze was before they renamed it to Stanley's LA Comic Con. I mean, literally, you walk in, they took, I want to say 15 minutes, and then I was in front of Neil Adams, it's one of those things, just like, I love those kind of cons because you get to get in there and do what you want. I mean, you can spend all day if you want, but you don't have to, it's not like we're like at SDCC. I was going to have to wait 3 hours just to go watch a panel show about Walking Dead, just because the actors are going to be there. And I'm like, no, I can go find something else to do other than waiting in the line for 3 hours. Just that kind of stuff always frustrated me. I mean, I don't mind waiting, like, if I have to wait 30 minutes to an hour, if it's like something really special, then okay. But 3 hours just to go, and I didn't even get a chair to sit down in. I'm standing, and I said, no, not doing that again. Because that's kind of the problem, too. And so there's kind of like this guide to SDCC, for collectors. Hey, you go on Wednesday preview night, get all your stuff. Thursday, you go get whatever else you couldn't get on Wednesday night. Friday, you go get comics because that's when usually the big writers and artists show up is on Friday. Saturday, you catch up on anything else that you want to see, and then Sunday you wait until the last possible minute, then you go. Everything's on clearance.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's selling everything on that Sunday. That last day is your best day. The problem is like when you have the big people like Hasbro, Mattel, all those guys, they still out of all their stuff on Wednesday, preview night or Thursday. They're all gone, you know. So good luck getting it. But the best, you know, if you want to get independent comics, signed books, CGC actually has a sale. CBCS has sales on Sundays. A lot of times they have people sign, witness it, and ship it off for you at the same time.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah. And it's just like, and don't worry, it's a fun time. But when you have 10,000 to 20,000 people in one little area,
No.
And these boys ain't taking a shower in probably 6 months. You know, it's kind of stinky, you know. But yeah, it's just one of those things. Like I said, I wanted to go just because there's stuff I want to get. Of course, I want to get signatures and stuff like that. But yeah, I'm not gonna kill myself over it. Not like these people are going to Craigslist and trying to buy tickets and everything like that. And they've got the rules so tightened down with SDCC now that it's just not even worth it. But the funny part is, you go to their counterpart, WonderCon, they still got tickets. You can still go buy tickets for April.
Right.
You know. And it was funny because I remember when they used to have just exclusives just for WonderCon. You couldn't get them at SDCC. WonderCon was where the exclusive idea came up at. You know, and then Hasbro jumped in, Mattel jumped in, everybody else jumped in. So WonderCon ended up not getting half the stuff that they used to get. Because I remember I got it was when Blackest Night was coming out. They had the Green Lantern, Yellow Lantern, Blue Lantern, the whole set. You know, all 8 figures. I got all 8 figures for $100. You know, and those are all WonderCon exclusives. You know, and it's like, holy crap! You try to buy that today now in SDCC. That's probably $1,000 set, you know, because they've inflated it so bad.
Yeah.
You know, and that's why I like the smaller cons, just for that reason.
Yep.
You know, you never know who's going to show up at the small cons too. I mean, we had Jim Lee show up at one of ours. I'm like, dude, what the heck? Jim Lee's here. You know, he's just like you know, Kyle was a buddy of a buddy. Said, hey, can you come by? You know, and before you do it, I mean, there's like 300 people in this little convention. They're all flocked around Jim Lee. And it's funny, he's just signing and going. And he didn't charge anything either, because he was just a guest that showed up. And he's just like, okay, I don't care. You know, like the good old days, you know, like used to be when you went to a convention.
Yep.
All right. So Eighth of Beast actually has a question to us. He said, can you guys help me out? What's the difference between vibranium, adamantium, and carbonium? Okay, that's going to be a long answer. So, vibranium, of course, is the alloy that's made in Wakanda. It is stronger than adamantium. Adamantium was made from vibranium originally. Carbonium is actually a derivative of adamantium. So, vibranium, adamantium, then carbonium. Because that's why Omega Red is wants a carbonium synthesizer, because that's supposed to stabilize his blood so he can live forever. Because he doesn't have his own healing factor. But yeah, if you ever see Wolverine, he can't cut through Captain America's shield for that reason. It's made out of a vibranium mixture. Ugh. It's hard to say that.
We'll probably find out about that in the Marvel Cinematic Universe the next year or two.
Yeah, I could say probably about 2 years when it's X-Men versus Avengers. You know, I want to see them do that, but the sad part is that we still have to get through the other movies, though. Dave, you know, they still got the Phoenix movie coming out.
Yeah.
I want to see the Venom movie, though, with Thomas Hardy. Yeah, I just think it's going to be awesome. You know, but I hope they don't screw it up, because they screw up Venom again, it's over. And
Wait, you didn't like Topher Grace?
God, no.
He's got to have a cameo in this movie. Come on.
Yeah, hopefully it's Thomas Hardy strangling him. But I do like the idea that, you know, they're coming up with the Carnage is going to be in the movie, which makes sense. You know, they need to have that, because it's going to be about the symbiote. It's not going to be about Spider-Man at all.
Right.
You know, and the cool part is Sony still owns Spider-Man. People forget that. They didn't sell it to Marvel.
Nope, this is a 3-movie deal.
Yep. So, I mean, all these can be. They said Venom wasn't part of the MCU anyways. It's part of the Amazing Spider-Man universe that they came out with. So, I guarantee you there'll be another movie probably show up, Amazing Spider-Man 3 or something stupid. You know what they should do though is after they do Venom, they should do Spider-Man versus the Lethal Foes or this Superior Six or something like that. Just to end it, and then give it back to MCU.
Yeah.
Well, I'm pretty sure it looks like the MCU's kind of setting up the Sinister Six. So I wonder if that's what they're going to do in one of their 2 next movies, or because you had Scorpion at the end of Homecoming.
Yep.
So I'd be curious to see what characters are used, who gets what. And I wonder how that falls. I wonder if Sony just owns the Peter Parker Spider-Man, or I wonder if they also own Miles Morales. So
they own all Spider-Man rights.
Okay.
So that was the problem is because MCU wanted to do a Miles Morales before they did the Peter Parker one, and they got in trouble for that because Sony owned all the rights to Spider-Man.
Well, I mean, let's be honest. They pretty much made an Ultimate movie with Peter Parker instead of Miles. I mean, down to where they had Genki in it and all the characters. I mean, it was essentially an Ultimate movie.
Well, heck, the whole MCU is pretty much an Ultimate universe.
Right.
I mean, you look at the designs and you look at the costumes they're wearing. It's all inspired by the Ultimate. We had a couple of classic renditions, like Loki's original was a good rendition of his old one from the '60s, but most of them are all Ultimate, related.
They're coming out with the animated Miles Morales Spider-Man, right?
Yeah, I think that comes out later this year. It's out direct to like DVD, Blu-ray.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Is it Sony or is it just Marvel?
I think it's Marvel. Marvel can do animated.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Marvel still has all the animated rights.
And that's also why Marvel. I was reading Comic Book Realm or Comic Book News that Marvel's looking at canceling all the animated shows they have on today because they saw how much money DC was making off of their direct-to-DVD and Blu-rays, and they might be canceling like Avengers, that's the crappy Spider-Man, and then their other one they had on because they're not really making a lot of money off of those. So they might go to that direct-to-DVD Blu-ray route, which might make them even more money. Because I still like that, Wolverine and Hulk animated film they did.
World War Hulk.
Yep. And then they had that the Japanese one, that Japanese version of X-Men, Blade, and Wolverine. Those were really done well because I like that art style too. So, we'll have to see how they do it. But yeah, I can see though they're going to probably buy out Sony eventually.
Oh,
Disney will buy out Sony for all the Spider-Man rights.
Yeah.
And they'll have the whole Marvel universe back.
Yep.
All I know is I want to see Blade show up again.
Yes.
I want a Blade and I want a Spirits of Vengeance movie.
Yep.
They're so good.
And Spike's already said he'll come back as Blade, so hey. As long as Ryan Reynolds doesn't come back, trying to be in Blade again, we'll be all right. Because he does amazing as Deadpool, but he did a horrible Hannibal King.
I wouldn't mind a Blade Deadpool crossover. As long as he's Deadpool.
Yeah, as long as he's Deadpool.
And not he wasn't Whistler's son. It was Jessica Alba was Whistler's daughter.
Mm-hmm.
Who was I don't remember who Ryan Reynolds was in that movie. I haven't seen the 3 Blade movies in so long. I was talking about them the other day because my wife and I were going through and doing the watching like one Marvel movie each week, and like you watch them all before Infinity War. And I was like, we need to watch the Blade movies too. But I haven't watched them in years.
Yeah, he played Hannibal King in Blade. Okay. And you could tell that it was such bad writing. Because he's like dying just to laugh while he's doing the movie.
Well, I mean, come on, you're calling Dracula Drac, and I mean, just the whole movie was awful.
Well, I'm kind of excited to see what the new Spawn movie is going to be like, though.
I'm not. Spawn is one of my all-time favorite characters. I mean, essentially Spawn is the reason I'm into comics because when I was a kid, like I can remember going to a department store that we had, and we'd walk in, and I would go to the toys, and my parents would go do whatever they needed to do. And I remember like finding these Spawn figures, and like thinking they just looked amazing because they were dark, they were evil, they were gross, and they came with the books. So my parents would buy me the figure, and then that's how I first started getting the comic books, was those Spawn books that came with the figures. And so like
Nice.
Spawn holds a very, very, very dear spot in my heart. Like, I still buy all the single issues, have all the hardcovers over there, all the Origin collections, and like to hear Todd McFarlane in these interviews saying, "Well, Spawn's not even going to be in the thing. He's just going to be this shadow lurking off in the distance. He's going to be like our Jaws, where the main character of Jaws wasn't Jaws. It was the sheriff." And it's going to be about like everybody around him, and then Spawn's just going to be this thing in the corner. I don't like that. Like, to me, Spawn. I mean, he's an anti-hero, but he's still a superhero. Like, he's not some. I don't know. Like to me, it sounds like he has this idea. Tommy McFarlane has this idea to make a paranormal activity movie or a generic horror film movie, and he's just using Spawn as the kind of hook to get people to go see it and to get a film company to produce it. That's what I'm afraid of. I'm afraid it's just going to be this generic horror film that has the Spawn name and maybe has a shadow that looks like Spawn, but it's really not going to have like the Spawn feel and characteristics of a Spawn book. That's just my opinion. But I'm like super super into Spawn. So
Yeah.
Well, that's what I read too. He wanted to kind of center around Sam and Twitch versus Spawn,
Right.
and I understand it because Sam and Twitch were a huge part of the series. But the book's called Spawn.
Right.
It should be about Al Simmons and him fighting Malboja or Cogliostro having his part in it, to figure out what's going on.
Yep.
Or it's him going to find Angela, and you can't do that now because Angela's over Marvel,
Yeah.
So that'd be an interesting piece if we see that in the next Guardians movie.
That's what I was just thinking.
Volume 2, man, I was hoping, I'm sitting there and I'm just like I was just hoping like we would see some little teaser of Angela, but we haven't seen it yet.
It's just too new. I mean, she's only been in the universe for about a year or two, so but next volume I can see she probably shows up because after Ragnarok, okay, come on, look at what's left.
Right.
They're going to have to find something out now. So I can guarantee we'll see Odin's, daughter show back up now. Because they're about Hela, and well, okay, that's pretty close to the whole fight between Asgard and the angels before.
Right.
So I'm waiting to see her show up. But the bad part is like. It's like, okay, when are we finally to see Warlock in full form, Because it's like, okay, I don't want to stay Cocoon for the third time. Just show up, and then go after Thanos.
Yeah. Can't wait.
And that's why the comics are sucking that dry right now. I mean, you got Infinity coming up, Countdown, and they just brought Adam Warlock back. So it's like, okay, yeah, I know they did it just because of the movies,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, and don't get me wrong, I love Adam Warlock as a character, but it's like, I liked him when he was back in the 90s, when it was him and the Infinity Watch, It made sense at the time. It's like, okay, yes, he had Infinity War, Infinity Crusade. After that, Thanos was dead, and then Adam Warlock died, and then that was it. End of story. It's like, okay, now we're bringing him back for the 100th time. It's like, oh, God. So, we'll see. I read a couple of the preview pages for Infinity Countdown Prime, and it doesn't look too good. So, I don't know. We'll have to see. It comes out soon. I hope the rest of the book is better. All right, guys. Well, we've been here a long time tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know it's a lot later there than it is here. So let me just go back to our comments, see if we missed anything. Eighth the Beast asked, what do you all think? Should they redo the entire X-Men line from start to finish or try and weave the X-Men in the current MCU? I think they should try to weave in the current X-Men movies. Ended after, they do the whole Phoenix part, and then now they're part of the main MCU. That they've been in a pocket dimension or something like that for so long, and now they're back in the real world. Just because if they have to go redo it and then bring back like a new Wolverine and all that stuff, and a new, it's like they're gonna lose a lot of people. They're gonna lose a lot of people that actually like me. I liked Dark Days of Future Past, but I hated Apocalypse. It just they rushed too much on Apocalypse. You could tell it was like it was starting to almost have that last stand kind of feeling because there was so much in it. So it's like, but I like the characters that are in there. I like the idea of Jean Grey that they brought in there. Like, okay, yes, she's the Phoenix, but she's showing up as Phoenix, not as the Dark Phoenix. Like she's just starting that piece in there. So I don't know. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I think that's the thing you're going to run into if you restart the whole X-Men line. They won't be able to do it in a long enough fashion to where they can really develop and because I mean, yeah, if you restart that whole X-Men line, I mean every character has to be redone. And so I mean by the time they actually develop all the characters, get all the storylines to where it all matches up with the current MCU. The current MCU is going to be done. They'll be on to season 2 or whatever they're calling the next generation of MCU movies. So I don't think I'm with you. I think basically you start at First Class and develop those. Just take that canon and then develop that into the MCU somehow.
If they do try to keep some of the same like actors as the X-Men now, I wouldn't be surprised if they would actually put like an end of scene credit in Phoenix coming up, bringing them into the MCU. I mean, they could be talking about that right now without anybody knowing.
Yeah, they couldn't definitely within the Phoenix movie because it hasn't came out yet.
Right?
Like, you just have like Captain America's shield show up in the bottom or something like that. Have some kind of sneak peek. Because, even Hugh Jackman said if it was Avengers versus X-Men, he'd come back.
Right.
So the door's open now. And they're already talking to him about it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but what they need to do though is finish up the current storylines with the X-Men though.
Yeah.
The funny part is like every movie is supposed to be like 10 years, and and everything. It's like why don't the kids look about 30 years old yet? And it's like, and I understand, hey, concept things like that. They're just saying time has been stretched because of things, but like, Days of Future Past was supposed to be the thing that reset everything.
Yeah.
So okay, you reset everything that happened from before, but does that mean like now you did it all in the 70s versus doing the 60s? Like Apocalypse was supposed to happen in the 80s. They're saying that Phoenix is supposed to happen in the 90s. So 30-year gap here. And I'm sorry, I mean Xavier should look a lot older, than what he does, and especially like Phoenix and Cyclops and all of them.
Yeah.
So I got a feeling they're going to do some cleanup work at the MCU before X-Men writing completely. And I think they're going to get rid of a lot of the people, a lot of the actual actors. I think we'll see certain people come back, but like Ian McKellen might show back up as Magneto. They'll have him show up as an old man Magneto or something like that. Bring back Patrick Stewart as an old man Professor X, because they already said Logan didn't happen in that same universe.
Yeah.
They said it's a one-off storyline. So it's like, okay, well, then that means it doesn't matter in the prime universe, the X-Men. So it's interesting. We'll just see what they do. All I know is that they better get Sabretooth right this time.
We got to.
I mean, Tyler Mane did a great job of it, in the original X-Men series. But when they brought Lee Schreiber in, that killed it. And I like Lee Schreiber as an actor. He's horrible at Sabretooth. Because it was the worst X-Men movie we had, X-Men Origins. Come on, look at Deadpool.
Yeah.
I like that Deadpool.
The regular version or the quiet one with the Wolverine arms?
Mutated mouth with
Deadpool should never be quiet ever. That's what he does. That's what he's known for.
Which I thought was hysterical in the Deadpool movie. He had like the actual action figure of that version of like the shirtless, the no mouth. I thought that was perfect.
That's why Deadpool 2 is going to be good. Him and Cable.
Yeah, did you see they bumped the release date 2 weeks up, or they're pushing it forward? Yep. I wonder what they're thinking there, because they're pushing. I mean, that's 2 weeks closer to Infinity War and 1 week before Solo.
I don't think Solo's going to do as good as Deadpool.
I don't think it will either. But it's still going to make money, and I think it will still pull some people away from that big second weekend. Like I think Deadpool 2 will have a phenomenal first weekend, but I'm curious to see what the second weekend's like with Solo coming out.
I think you'll see a dip in it, but it'll only be on the U.S. side. Because remember, in China, they hate Star Wars.
That's true.
Because they already stopped. They had The Last Jedi only in their theaters for about 2 weeks.
Right.
And then they pulled it because they was doing such horrible numbers. So I bet 101 Deadpool stays for like 2 months in their theaters. Because that's where they made. I mean, they made so much money off of Deadpool. It was not crazy. I mean, the sheer money on a rated R film they got.
Yep.
And Logan too. I mean, Logan made a buttload of money.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And it was an actual good storyline. Now, did they change a whole lot from Old Man Logan? God, yes.
Yeah.
But you kind of have to for movies. It's not going to be the same.
I mean, you're not going to have cannibalistic Hawks and.
I was hoping at least Hawkeye was going to show up.
Right.
Like they would explain, like, okay, maybe he's dead or something like that. Something happened, But I was like, no, and here you go. Here's X-23 in the movie. I'm like, okay, well, then that opens the door for X-23. But now that Fox is no longer in charge of X-Men, it kind of killed it. Now, what I can see them doing is taking and some of those tubes of Wolverine that they found before in Days of Future Past, those can be turned into X-23 in the MCU. We'll have to see.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, it's 9 o'clock my time here, so it's even later there.
Midnight here.
And everybody's still hanging out with us. We still got 6 people watching, so thank you,
awesome.
viewers. Thank you guys for coming out. It's been the weekly Syndi-Comics. So, BJ and Kyle, over to you guys.
I'll be in Michigan next week, so vacation.
So I should be able to do the stream next week as well. So
yeah,
we'll have to see Phoenix Resurrection next week.
Oh yeah.
Yep. All right. Well, you guys have a good one. Thank you guys. Thank you everybody that came out tonight. We really appreciate it. Before you just kind of like a lot of people come to my channel because it's my channel, But if you come to my channel for Syndi-Comics, definitely I'm gonna put the link down below. Go check out Syndi-Comics. Go join out there with us if this is your first time. We talk comics and more comics, and that's all we talk about on that page is comics. So come on by. So all right. Thank you guys. Everybody take it easy and have a good night, guys.
Have a good night, guys.
Yeah.